In this session, we'll try to understand what is AWS CloudWatch and Cloud Trial and why it is used, how it is beneficiating the users and all. So we'll go and try to understand with initially we'll start with theory thing, thereafter we'll go and try to have the hands-on knowledge. Fine. So this will be the agenda of the session. So we'll try to understand what is CloudWatch and why should we use CloudWatch, and while we are using some features or the services, we should have some key points to choose that service, right? So we'll try to understand that key things in using the CloudWatch and how it is going to work and some use cases too. Fine. So thereafter, once we are done with the complete things of CloudWatch, we'll move on to Cloud Trial. So what exactly it is, why should we use it, and what are the key benefits of using it, and how it is going to work and all. Okay. So we'll try to make it more simple and easier thing. So if the video is going to extend, so we'll have it in two part, that is we'll go and have the CloudWatch in part 1 and Cloud Trial will be in part 2. So we'll have look over it. Okay, so initially we'll start with what is Amazon CloudWatch. So as the name suggests, something more familiar, that is CloudWatch. So we all know that watch. So there are two kinds. One is your hand watch, or the another thing is you are looking for something, right? So where you are looking inside the cloud. Fine. That is inside the Amazon. Fine. So they are the cloud provider, and the user wants to monitor the resources or the infrastructure what they have provisioned. That is, if some user has created some resources, right? For example, it could be EC2 or S3 bucket and all. So they should have look on their infrastructure. So how it is performing, and do we require any additional attention to be paid to perform or to run my instance more, even more smoother, like that, right? So to keep monitoring the resources, we want some agent, right? So in AWS we use CloudWatch. So the CloudWatch is a kind of an agent, one who go and monitor the resources. So by monitoring the resources, what are the data it is going to fetch and how it is going to analyze the data, and we'll go and try to understand. Fine. So this is the quite overview of the CloudWatch. So what exactly it is. So fine. So Amazon CloudWatch is a monitoring and management service designed to provide data and actionable insights. That is, it's going to monitor as well as even it can able to manage the services. That is how it's been designed to provide the data and actionable insights. So by monitoring, it will fetch some data. So we'll go and try to understand what are the data it will go and fetch, and some actionable insights. So it's completely depend on the user, one who going to configure. So based on the events it will going to work, that is actionable insights for AWS resources as well as application too. So it's not only limited to resources, but even we can use to monitor our application too. That is, you have, if you have deployed your web application, or if you have deployed in your Kubernetes, there also you can able to monitor and manage the services. So it collects and visualize the metrics. That is, whatever the data it is going to collect by looking or by watching the resources, based on the collected data, it will do the visualization. So visualization the means what exactly all about in different graphs. Okay. So based on the data, it will display the graph, and also it maintains the logs, which is more important to have. So why we required logs? So probably if you are running some application or if you are running your problem statement in the lambda function means, so the log should be required. Why we required log? So if we encountered some errors during the execution, or some APIs is not happening, why it is not happening, what could be the issues, even though if it is successful or if it is errored or if it is interrupted, so one should know why it has happened, right? So to all, to understand the back end process, what was the major issues and why it was happening, why it got failure and all. So if we want to know the error in more in depth, so we should have the logs for each services. So that is why it's having log is more important, and events to help user to maintain optimal application performance as resource utilization. So and also the CloudWatch will help us to do the event based jobs. Fine. So thus it helps user to maintain the optimal application performance too. We'll go and understand all those things. Fine. So next is, so why CloudWatch? So as we already come across few things, right? So we already come across few examples, and hopefully you might have understood. If not, no worries, we'll try to have it once again here. So one is why we use CloudWatch. One is for monitoring the AWS resources as well as application too. So like tracking metrics for services like EC2, RDS, Lambda, DynamoDB and many more, and provides visibility into performance of the application infrastructure. So fine, as well as log management. So it will going to collect the data. So when an event or when an triggers happens, it will going to collect the data, and the data whatever the logs has been connected are used for further debugging and making the process errorless. So for that we require log management. Fine. And also help us to track the errors as well as monitoring the behavior of the services or application. And event detection. So detects and responds to state change in resources. So probably what exactly they are trying to say is, whenever something got happened, some assume that let us consider an EC2 instance. So you have an EC2 instance where you have deployed your e-commerce application in one server, that is in one EC2 instance. It can handle 100 requests at a time. So in upcoming days, your e-commerce website is going to have the Black Friday sales, where there are huge numbers of users are expected. To handle those huge traffics, it's no we required more servers or more EC2 instance, right? With one we cannot have a handle, because in one we can handle max to max of 100 requests for certain duration. So if it is good beyond that, so we require multiple things. So there an event is going to happen. So how it is going to happen? So we going to watch, or we going to create the agent for watching the CPU utilization of your EC2 instance. So to request or to process any request, we require CPU, right? So we keep it as a primary thing, and we'll keep monitoring our CPU. So if my CPU, that is EC2 instance CPU, reaches 80% of its utilization, so automatically the CloudWatch detects there is something happened, right? So in response to that, either we can have the lambda function to do other event driven task, or since we are using EC2, we can go with auto scaling things. Why we require auto scaling? Since the CPU has reached its maximum limit, and we required additional CPUs to handle the request. So either we can scale up our existing resource, or we can provision additional resource to. Fine. So in case of failure, probably. So in case of failure, assume that you have a two server and you are running one server, that is two servers are serving the request. So one got primarily down due to some internal issues. So in that case, the CloudWatch event, whatever we have set up, so it keeps monitoring the things. So automatically, if one got down, automatically it will going to redirect all the traffic which are coming to that down system or down server to the secondary server. So which was parallelly be running and serving the same content to the end users like that. So that is how it will the event detection and response will going to happen. So enables automated actions based on predefined conditions. So we have defined the conditions, right? So in case of failure one server, redirect all traffic to server 2. So if my CPU reaches the 80% of the utilization, so automatically scale up the resources or provision new infrastructure under load balance like that. And automation thing, so just the event detection what I explained is similar to the automation. So there once we set up the conditions and we build the pipe, so thereafter we don't require to interfere in the process. So everything is being taken care by the AWS, that is whatever the pipeline we have created. So thus we have achieved automation, right? So works with service like auto scaling or Lambda to automatically respond to metrics threshold or anomalies. And also not only we can provision or deprovision, or we can terminate like things, or we can stop doing those, it's not limited. Even we can add the features of getting notified to the admin or the creator of the pipeline. So we can set up the notification. So to set up the notification, we require to have another service to be associated with the CloudWatch, that is SNS, simple notification service. So just remember, so it will going to prompt during the automation thing, but as a theoretical part I'm just giving things fine. And also cost optimization. So you might wonder that by collecting the data properly, the cost would be the more for storage we required to collect the data, the process will be charged like that. How can we achieve cost optimization? So assume that you have running two servers, that is two EC2 instance having the same content, that is your e-commerce application is running on two servers. So there is a normal traffic going where a one server is more than enough to handle the traffic, but still you're running another server, that is two server is running parallelly. So the one server is quite idle because it is not getting much traffic, so one is serving as normal. So there I am paying the bill for two running servers where one server can able to process the request, but still we are running two resources. So there I going to set up the pipeline saying that if my CPU utilization is less than or equal to 20%, if that detects, automatically check for any other resources are running related or associated thing. So all these things should be coded and deployed in the Lambda functions. Fine. So if got detected, that is the another process or the another server is running with the same tags, automatically that should be either stopped or terminated. So by doing any of these, we can avoid getting billed, right? So I don't need to manually go and watch the things. So once if I set up the pipeline, so automatically the things will going to happen by itself. That is, we call it as automation. So that is how we can optimize the cost by monitoring the metrics to optimize the resource allocation as well as cost too. And when it comes to key features, so we already have come across many things, but still we'll move on. Okay, so metrics as well as log. So it's going to collect the aggregate data for, it will going whatever the data or the metrics we going to have or we going to look, it will be of real time data. And the alarm, so if you don't want to do any automation things like provisioning or deprovisioning things, just you wanted to get notified to your user or the creator or the admin, fine. In those cases we can set up the alarm by sending the notification, fine. And the dashboard things, so I just mentioned, right, the matrix are can be viewed in the visual format, right? So we can customize that visualization operation too. And event bridge, so I took an example of doing automation, right, for scaling up or scaling down for cost optimization. For all those things we required event bridge. So whenever there is an event occur, so the event could be like the maximum utilization of the CPU is 80%, so that is the event. If an event got triggered, so the bridge will help us to do the automation things. So like, so the event bridge is associated with the next step. So what has to be happened, like if my CPU utilization reaches the 80%, what should be the next procedure? So event bridge help us to associate other services. So if something is happening, what should be the solution for that, like that. So in this case we going to link our lambda function saying that we have to write the problem statement or the preconditions saying that, so check for any other instances running under this stack. So if it is so, check the CPU utilization of each servers or the instance. If each server or the instance are having less than or 20%, then make only one server available. So terminate or stop rest of the servers, like that we need to code. And automatically the event bridge help us to carry the event or the trigger whatever they happen to the lambda function to perform the activity. Okay, so those are the things. So remember, we'll have the words or the scenario which we used that could help us to understand the cloud trial too, fine. So as of now you just keep in mind the scenario what I just explained, fine. And how exactly it is going to work. So metric collections, what is all about metric? So they're going to collect the data, performance data from the AWS resources as well as custom applications too. So for example, when it comes to EC2, the CPU utilization, disk input output, network activity and all, and execution time, error time for log things and all. So log collection and management. Fine, event monitoring. So before initially when AWS was exist, that is a few months back, so it was CloudWatch event. Now they are upgraded or they have changed the name into Event Bridge. So I just explained right here, Event Bridge how it is going to work. So same thing. So example they have taken. So start a backup script when an EC2 instance launch and send an alert resource utilization exceeds threshold. There are two examples. So initially I going to write the lambda function saying that check for EC2 having the status running, right? If my EC2 instance having the status running means automatically create the backup of that EC2 instance, the first. So where I will write the, that is I going to create the event bridge. So the event bridge having an access to my EC2 instance, so having the monitoring all those things. Okay, so from there if something got triggered in the event bridge, so automatically it will redirect their request to the lambda function saying that EC2 instance was launched and it is running in the state. So in the lambda function what we have written, so take the backup of that instance, like that. Okay, so automatically the lambda function will be run triggered and it will run. So it will run and it will create the snapshot of the EC2 instance. Fine. And send an alert when resource utilization exceed the threshold. So here we going to set up the alarm. Okay, saying that if my CPU utilization reaches it's 80% of the 80% out of 100%, so send an alert to the concerned person saying that your server has reached maximum CPU utilization, kindly pay attention to it, like that, saying the code. Okay, so this is how the event monitoring systems works, and alarm as well as dashboard thing. So we can integrate the alarm by using the SNS and the dashboard, so we can customize the dashboard based on our requirement. Another thing is insights and analysis. So using CloudWatch insights to run queries on log data for troubleshooting things and detect trends, identify errors, analyze the system behavior. So with the help of logs, we can perform all these things. Without having the base knowledge of error, what exactly happened, we cannot go and troubleshoot something, right? So we should have some error, or we should able to look on the error. So what is happening? So for all those things, we require log. So it's going to detect and identify the error, and it will display us, and we can analyze the system. So even we can do the automation things too. And here they have taken some example, that is the use case probably. So you are running a web application on EC2 instance and want to ensure high availability. So when it comes to metrics, so monitoring CPU usage, network traffic for EC2 instance, like, so we going to monitor the EC2 instance of CPU usage and network traffic. So and thereafter we going to set up the alarm. So set an alarm to notify if CPU exceeded 80% of the 80% of its utilization. So in for every 5 minutes. Okay, so it skip checks for every 5 minutes either my CPU has reached 80% of the utilization, like that. Collects application logs to analyze errors and troubleshoot. So if your application having some errors, like someone is trying to access your application, there you won't able to find your application. So during we may encounter 404 error or 503 forbidden error, many errors, like, so those errors can be viewed here from the organization end, and we can customize our dashboard to view visual things, and we going to have the automation, so triggered for auto scaling when alarms are activated. So this is all about the CloudWatch. So we just understand, right, so what exactly the CloudWatch is and what are the advantages of using the CloudWatch services, and we try to understand by having the examples too. So we'll go and look into the Amazon console and we'll try to have it. Fine. So initially log on to your console and type CloudWatch here in global search. So look here, so what they are trying to say, so monitor resource as well as your application things. Okay, so what are the features that CloudWatch wants? You can have log, you can have matrix, you can create alarms, you can create dashboard and the services. We'll go and see all. Initially we'll go and try to see log groups what we have. Fine. So as of now there is no logs here. Why? We do not, we haven't created anything, right, for that. So since we haven't created any logs, custom logs, so that's why it's empty. So we'll go ahead and look into the metrics. Okay, so previously we have already, by default these are the resources which we have used priorly for all those things. Automatically they have that is the AWS has already provided the metrics for all those things. We'll go and try to see in the EC2 instance. So just click on EC2, and they are asking two options. So one is for, if you wanted to go for individual instance, we can have it here. So till now we have these many instances been created, and also the auto scaling group, this many times we have. So we'll go and have the pre things. Okay, so metadata no tokens. Okay, so we'll select this. Okay, we'll try to look here. So the CPU utilization is something like this. Okay, so if you have priorly used these things, so we can have the metrics here. So the orange color is for this instance ID, blue is for this instance ID. So there is no proper utilization. So we'll go and create our own EC2 instance and we'll try to look. Fine, so we'll go to EC2 instance, click on instance, launch new instance, we'll name it as CPU. Okay, we'll try to allow this and we'll add some content over here. So along with that, okay, so here what I have written is, so I don't want to go and do manual things and all. Okay, so whenever I hit a launch instance, so automatically background, so it will going to execute all these things. Okay, so we'll go and try to modify the things. Fine, so initially I'll be installing the Apache 2 server. From there I have written an HTML file, and I have written, I just imported the content into dot, that is index.html, and I have restarted the Apache 2 server. And also for further demonstration, so I will be installing the Python 2. Fine, we'll go and hit launch. So you can access CloudWatch in two way. So one is from the console, home console. Fine, so directly you can go and type it here, or if you have recently visited, you can able to have it here. Okay, so now we'll try to see whether it is being created or not. If not, we'll go and have it in the all metrics. Okay, here we'll try to open EC2 instance, per instance. Okay, so this is my instance ID, and we'll try to search. Okay, so this is my instance ID, ops, balance, all those things. Fine. So that was one way. The another way is just select your instance, scroll down, here you have monitoring thing. So here also you can see the data, and you can optimize things however you want. So how oftenly the thing should be done. So every 10 seconds every time. So it will going to check the utilization of all these things. So this is the default or the automatic dashboard created by the CloudWatch. Fine. So we'll try to copy these things and we'll try to access. So here I have just modified the things for every 1 minute. The thing should be checked. So the refresh is going to happen. So every 10 seconds. So I don't need to hit all the time refresh. So it will going to update the content after 1 minute. So we'll have it. We'll try to choose the local timings. Okay. So we'll try to view that file. So we have the content here and it is running fine. Why it is not getting open here? Okay, so there might be some security issues. We'll go and look here. All the ports are fine. We don't require any additional things. I don't know why it is. So sometimes your browser may not do things. Fine. So now I can able to access the thing. Now we'll try to monitor the things. See here. Now the utilization has gone. It's doing only 1 percentage. Fine, now the utilization is here and the network is also like this. So likewise, so you can add dashboard or manage detail monitoring the system by just enabling this and confirm and configure cloud agent. So if you want to manage things, and you can also have. Fine, so we'll maximize this and we'll keep it for 5 seconds. Fine, see here, now the utilization has gone up. Now again we'll try to have, now since there was no utilization, so it has gone down and it will going to refresh the things. Okay. So I have chosen the minimum. So in this time my CPU utilization was initially 0. So as it goes, it's keep going upside. Fine. So since it's under normal utilization, so it has not yet reached any of the above thing. So we'll try to add some script. Okay. So for before that, we'll check whether Python 3 is installed or not. So it's available, and we'll exit here and okay. So fine. So we'll create some file. So this file will going to help us to do the things. Fine, so before going and having the script, so we'll try to create the alarm. So in all alarm, since I have not created any alarm over here, so that is why it is, as of now it's empty. So why I am creating the alarm here? So if my EC2 instance CPU reaches maximum, that is, it could be 80% or it could be 50%, so I should be notified saying that, so your CPU utilization has this many things, so pay attention to that, like that. So I need a notification to my mail address. How do I do it? So I don't want to keep monitoring things. So here I'll come and I will choose the EC2 and just copy the instance ID and look here for instance ID. Fine. So here what I want, so we need to check or we need to select so what we want to have. So let us take CPU utilization. Fine, so only the CPU utilization is enough for me. Okay, select matrix and here, so in general they going to have the average, so that is in 5 minutes they going to take the average, but since I am doing the demonstration, so I'll be choosing the maximum, so I don't want to keep waiting for all those things, and I will reduce to 1 minute period. So every 1 minute it will go and check whether it stings my eyes or not. So use the value as a threshold or use band as threshold thing. So we'll go with static one, and here is the condition. So whenever CPU utilization is greater than threshold or greater than or equal, lesser than or less than or equal, however, so let us provide the number like 50. Okay, so if my CPU utilization reaches more than 50, it should be notified. So alarm, so alarm state trigger, so in which state it should trigger. So in alarm I have taken the matrix or the expression is outside the defined threshold. So if it is reaches outside the thing, so it should send me notification, or the okay message you want, or insufficient data. So it's completely based on the subject, right? So if it is okay, the matrix or expression is within the defined threshold, like that. So if you have written things for less than or equal to 10 or the 20%, so then you can go for okay. So insufficient data, it can be utilized in storage thing. So since I haven't created any notification priorly, I will go and create the new one. So here the default, the name of the watch, so default cloud watch alarm topic, so you can replace it however you want, or we'll try to have it, that is, we'll make it into CPU. Okay, so here I will be providing my mail address. If some, okay, so I will go and hit the create topic. So create topic is nothing but we are just creating the association. So if something based on the event whatever we have written or whatever we are configuring, if something goes happen, so trigger the notification to here. And if you want to take any action, so you can do it by here itself. So you can add the lambda function if you have already created, like that. So or else you can add the auto scaling group also. You can select the auto scaling which should be priorly created, and also the EC2 instance. So what should we do? So here only we have. So if something goes wrong, so stop the instance or terminate the instance or reboot. If in this case, if something goes wrong, we can reboot the system too. Fine. So we just want the notification in my email. That's enough. Okay. Now we'll hit enter and we'll name it as CPU. Fine. So you can drop any description, so subject to your pipeline. So what is our main objective of this pipeline? So if my CPU utilization reaches more than 50%, so automatically it should notify the creator of that server, whoever has created, saying that your server has reached, say, 50% of the utilization, saying. Fine. So here we'll write something formally. So you might have seen or you might have come across this format. So this will be the message what I going to get. Okay, so now the thing has set. So it will keep checking my EC2 instance of this ID. Okay, and it will go and have things here. Fine. So for every 1 minute it will go and check. So this is the preview and we'll go and create the alarm. Okay, so view alarm. So since we have just created the alarm, okay, but it is not yet active till here, so we'll go and, so insufficient data. So why it is not insufficient? So this action needs sends an SMS topic to endpoint. This is pending confirmation. So we need to provide confirmation saying that, so whatever the information or the events will going to happen, that should get notified to me, right? So for that I need to subscribe to the SNS thing. So without confirming I cannot able to have. We'll log on to our mail and we'll try to confirm see here, I already received one confirmation things over here, confirm submission to be made. So now I have confirmed my email subscription, saying that if something goes wrong, let me know regarding that, like things. So okay, let me refresh this. See here, action enabled. Fine. So we'll go back and we'll try to refresh. So it will take some time. So it should be in the green color, like these things. Fine. Okay, so now we have set up the things. Fine. So we'll go and deploy or type our script and run the script. So this script will help us to keep CPU engaged more. Fine. So you may going to get the script in the chat GPT. Okay, so this is the script I have taken. We'll go and paste it here. Okay, so we'll run that python 3 cpu c. Now automatically the cpu will the cpu utilization will be more. We'll try to look see here. So initially there was no graphs like things, but now they gradually spike, right? So if we take last 1 hour like this. Okay, so now we'll go and try to look here. We'll try to have it here. Okay, now my cpu has been reached there, but still the alarm is not triggering here. Okay, still it is looking for cpu utilization from there. Fine. So it's showing an insufficient data. So we'll go and have it in 15 minutes. So for every 5 minutes it is going to have. Fine. So or else we can make it one and apply. Okay, we'll try to refresh it. Fine. Now still my cpu utilization is under 48%. So once it crosses the 50%, so automatically the alarm will be triggered. Fine. So it's going in 50 only. So we'll go and try to modify the code. Fine. So we'll break this and we'll try to view. Go here. Okay, so here we have provided the input data as 50 and we'll change to 70. We'll save this and we'll run this again. Fine. So now it has reached more than that. Fine. Okay, so initially there we were getting some like insufficient data and all. Now the CPU utilization and things. So fine. Still, let's wait for some moment and we'll try to have. Fine. So automatically now it got triggered. So why it is got triggered? So still it's taking some time to display. Fine. Now the status is okay. My CPU, that is, haven't yet reached the 50%. Fine. So if it is not getting reached, so we'll go and try to modify the code for maximum things. Fine. So we'll keep it here for maximum. So we can able to watch it here, and we'll check for any other mails or not. No, still we have not got. Okay, so it's gradually getting down. So we'll go and try to modify the code once again. Okay. Initially it was having insufficient data, so then it is got triggered, and now before in alarm, before it was okay, right? The status were okay. Now we can able to see it has reached 70% of the CPU utilization. So whatever the criteria we have provided is, if it is exceeding the 50% of the CPU utilization means, just let me know that my server is reached its maximum capability, like that. Okay, so like this. So it is sending a notification. So only if the event got triggered and doing some work, all those events will come in alarm position. So simply if we have created and still there is no action taken because no event has activated, it will be like this. Fine. Look here. So this object was CPU utilization in this region. So you are receiving this mail because Amazon CloudWatch alarm things has been done. So view the alarm in the management things. So name is this and the description is 18. This is an auto generated mail. Your CPU having this has reached this many things. So state change OK alarm. So the status of the event will be changed to OK alarm. So reason threshold crossed 1 out of the 1 data point, last data point. So that is, so the complete details we going to have it here. See here our complete things and all. So this is how we going to have the notification. So the alarm is in the alarm state when n matrix is greater than 50 for at least one of its last one period of 60 seconds. So this is how you can make automation things, or we can do another things also. Just go here and select action. Okay, so here we can add easy to click. If something has happened in alarm status means terminate the instance. So look here, my right now the instance is running state. Fine. So we'll go and try to update the alarm. So what will happen? We'll go and see. So now the CPU will be check for it, and we'll try to go here and refresh it. So we have not created any rules like this, so automatically the things will be creating. So in alarm on state, so we have set up one alarm has been exceeded already, and now from there it is looking for the CPU utilization. So if it is reached more than 50%, so automatically the instance will go and terminate it. So this is all about the CloudWatch, how you can optimize the things, how you can control your resources and all. Fine. So if you want to look for the logs, even till there I go and show you people. So let it be here, we'll close this. Fine. So we'll try to create the lambda. Okay, so we'll create testing, and the environment will be Python. Okay, we'll go and create the lambda function. So the CPU has already been reached this location, one alarm got triggered, and CPU utilizations and within threshold. Okay, so now we'll deploy this and we'll test. So here we want to create an event, so even to test this Apple case file. Okay, here we'll test our code. See here, this is the log actually. So the below shows the 4 KB of the execution log. You can make it over here, or if you want to view separately, you can just click over here, or you can able to navigate here and just got into log groups. There also you can view it. See, it's log group. Okay, so automatically log group is going to create. So go inside your log group and just select the recent log, and here we have a report. So initially the lambda function got initialized and it started the request, and the request got added in this time, and the report is duration. So for how long it was running and how much memory it got utilized, everything. So this is the log. So if something goes wrong, we can able to make out here itself. Okay, so this is log monitoring, and another one we saw is that is metric and setting alarm and doing the automation things. Fine. So this is all about the Amazon CloudWatch. And if you want to have this that is event detection and doing things, just look on to lambda function or the lambda function demo video. You can able to make out. So we have performed this event bridge service there. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for cloud trial video, which is part 2. As I previously mentioned, we'll going to have it in